Blessed be, and welcome to the Circle of Heka. I'm Lady Amaris. So the altar. When you're starting out, the altar can be a little daunting as well. What do I put on the altar? Do I need this? Do I need that? Where do I put it? What's the best way of doing it? Like, I've read this book and it says this, and then I've read this other book and it says that. I'm confused. What do I do? Well, ultimately, you would do what feels right. Now, my altar is in the process of being changed up. I have an altar that I originally had for a while. It was painted white, and I have now decided that I want to strip that back and have it back to its original wood. And so I'm in the process of doing that, which means at the moment I don't have my altar set up. So what I've done is I've just done a little makeshift one so that I can go through a few little bits and pieces with you, just to give you a few ideas. I'm not saying that this is the exact way that you should do an altar because, as I said, ultimately it's up to you. Your altar is going to be your connection with deity or your connection with witchcraft. And it's not someone else's connection with witchcraft. Now, when you're doing an altar for a circle, a specific circle, so if you're working in a group, in a coven, they would have a specific altar set up where certain items would have to be placed in a certain manner, in a certain way, in a certain place. Now, this is because we want to make sure that everyone is able to find all the tools when they need to be found, and they put back in the correct place, and we don't have the, oh, where's this, oh, someone put that, the kind of thing where you go to someone's house and instead of the top drawer being where the knives and forks are, it's in the third drawer. That sort of thing. It's everyone's on the same page. Everyone knows where everything is. So a lot of the time, I think that when you're looking at books on Wicca, you're looking at the coven setup for an altar where everyone will be able to know where everything is. But a personal altar is a personal altar. So let's go through some of the things that I've got here, just so that we can have a little bit of a look. Now, this is a simple one that I've done, and we'll just go through the first bits. This one here, you can see, this is the pentacle, and this one's made in wax. So you can see it's quite easy, quite simple. Now, you can have wax for your pentacle. You can have copper for your pentacle. You can have stone. You can have wood. But basically, a pentacle is something that is solid. It is of the earth. So stone, wood, that sort of thing. I wouldn't have one that was made of something too synthetic. So nothing comes to mind. I wouldn't have a plastic one, let's say. I would have something that is actually earthy. Now, the wax pentacle, some say it harkens back to the burning times when having any symbols or any paraphernalia of the art found on your person or in your home could see you going to some of the witch trials. So pentacles would be made in wax, and if there was any idea that someone would be coming to your home, the pentacle could easily be put into the fire, where it would be burnt and the evidence destroyed, so to speak. So that's one of the ideas behind having a wax pentacle. Over to the left here, we have, which I haven't filled up with water but can be used for water, is just a bowl. Now, this bowl I'm using here because I made it myself. And I made it when I was in high school. I think it was one of those art projects. And I can't remember the actual style, but it's an actual Japanese style where the pottery is not perfect. That's the style. It's the imperfection that makes it unique. So let's see. a nice bowl. You can see the crackle effect inside. And that would be for water. So you can see, now for a simple altar, as I say, we've got earth, and then we have something for water, so a watery receptacle or item. You don't need to have a chalice of any kind, really, but something that will hold water, some kind of cup or some kind of bowl will be nice. Glass bowls also look quite beautiful. You can have like little water lilies in there, and it depends on what you want to do. And we'll go a bit over here. We've got a black candle. Now the black candle would symbolize the feminine, the goddess, and also the receptive energies, so the receiving and bringing in, pulling in of energy. Okay, and moving along, so we have our candle, which would be for fire or for spirit, and you can see here it's quite a nice little thing, and you can pick these sorts of things up at any of the little home art type of stores, and little knick-knack stores and of the like. It's not something that would be, I think, too expensive, but if you are not very financial, then it's very easy, don't want to burn myself, very easy just to have a tea light and place that on there, obviously with some kind of heat-proof plate or something. But at the same time, you can change it up depending on what is around you. Now I have here a statue of Isis, and this is just one that I've grabbed as an example. I have quite a few statues, which I'll probably show you at some point in the future. And then to our right, we've got something to put some kind of incense in. Now, this one here is a little bowl which has seen better days. It needs to be cleaned because I've used it as a little cauldron, so it's gotten a little bit tarnished. It has 3 legs, which is always good. And all I've done is put a little tea light inside and use that tea light to be a holder for incense sticks. So you don't have to go and buy all this beautiful, expensive stuff. You can make do. Witches are renowned for being resourceful, so you can use things for multi-purpose. So we've got a nice incense stick. Again, you don't have to be a purist and have incense resin or make your own. When you're just starting out, it can be quite expensive. So a few cheap little incense sticks shouldn't break the budget too much. They're usually, depending on where you go, $1 each to $2 each. And if you're sparing with your incense, then they can last quite a while. We have our white candle. Now this would symbolize the god. It would symbolize the male energy, and it symbolizes that active energy. So the active energy of the masculine. And lastly, I think one of the little, and just so that you can put other things on your altar. This is one of the spells that I did for attracting wealth. Let's see. And you can see, remember from before, all of those lovely little herbs and spices, all there ready to attract wealth and prosperity. So you can have your little spells on your altar as well. But it depends on what your altar is for. Some altars are specifically for, as you call, working altars, specifically for spells. Other altars are for deity. So you have personal altars, you have family altars. The possibilities are endless. So this is one, and I'll just show you another little combination. So this one's a little bit different. As you can see, I've changed the statue of Isis to one that's a little bit more racy, because it's coming into Beltane, the symbols of fertility, of masculine and feminine coming together in the holy union. That's good images that you can place on your altar. Lovers entwined, whatever you can find, or whatever you can fashion. I have just a little bowl, I think that was given to me as a present, which I think is quite nice. And I've just got some feathers in there. So the feathers can symbolise certain feathers for certain deities. It can also be for the element of air. Whatever it means to you, you can place on that altar. And I've also replaced the pentacle with a stone. Now this is a river stone. Not sure if you can see, it's not going to be all blurry for you. So this is a river stone, and it's quite flat. And again, you don't have to have something that has a pentacle on it. You can have a stone which will symbolise the earth, and if it's kind of round and flat enough, you can, if you like, inscribe a pentacle on there, and it will serve as your pentacle. Okay, I'll just change it up again. Okay, now I have another one, and this is for my my viewers in the Northern Hemisphere, as you're coming into Samhain. So this one here is just basically full of skulls. I've changed to another pentacle, as you can see. It's another wax pentacle, but this one is a little bit more simple that you can use. So you're not, you don't have to be limited to certain things. If we move to the left, we've still got our water container, but I've now got a drinking horn, which can be filled with some kind of, say, mead or some kind of wine that you would leave as an offering for the ancestors. Moving over, we have, let's see if I can. We have Anubis, who is an underworld god, and we have a skull, quite a nice looking skull here. This one I found, funnily enough, at a pet store. It was in the fish section, so it was something that you would have in the bottom of a fish tank. And I've just grabbed it and put little diamantes and other various things on there, just to make it a little bit more beautiful. I've painted a bit here and there as well, and that's where you can find simple little things, and you can add your little touch to it. I don't think that it was very expensive. I've had it for quite a while, so I can't remember how much it actually cost. And then you have this little skull here, which I think I've shown before. This one I got at a candle store, and it's quite nice. It has the same kind of feel as this one here, but a lot more love has gone into this one, as I've made it. Not all myself, but I've adapted it myself. So you can see that you don't have to adhere to any rules when it comes to your altar. There are lots of things that you can put on there. Now this is an extremely simple bare bones altar, just to give you an idea that you can have something that's very simple, or you can have something that's very elaborate. it is up to you and what you want to put on your altar. As I've said before, an altar that is for a coven, a working altar, will be very much different to what you see here. And try not to, I think, sometimes get confused when you read some of the literature, that a lot of that would be a coven altar setup as opposed to a personal altar setup. One other thing you don't see on here is my anathema. Let's see, bring it down. This is one of the things that I get a lot is, oh, I need to have an anathema. Where can I get an anathema? I'm waiting. All of them are quite expensive, and I don't want to buy one online. I want to actually have a look at it and touch it and feel it. The thing is, again, when you're starting out, you don't have to get all the paraphernalia, because again, it can be quite expensive. And if you're going on your ego and saying, well, I must get this one because I've seen that on this person's YouTube channel, or this person, I've seen the picture of this and they have that, and if I want to be taken seriously, then I must have that as well. You don't need all of the things straight away. A lot of these people have saved up for their tools, or they may be more financial than you are at the moment, and are able to buy these pretty things. When they started out, no doubt they were just as frugal and were able to find different bits and pieces and adapt them and change them and make them their own. But as you move on and you see some of these pretty things, sometimes you get caught up in that in order for me to be taken seriously, I must have all these pretty things. If I don't have all these pretty things on my altar, then I mustn't be a real witch. Please don't get caught in that mindset. You can be as basic as you want to or need to be, and don't think you must have everything straight away. It comes in time when you're ready. Some of the most magical things that you can have been found objects, have been gifted objects, not things that you've bought from a store. So just take your time and don't be so willing to rush ahead and have all these things. So one-handed, I was able to get my anathema. So this is my anathema. It's seen better days. It's been around for a while. Now this is a little bigger than most anathemas would be, but I don't use my anathema all the time. I do use it for certain things, but it's not something that has to be on my altar. It isn't one of those must-have items on my altar, but it is something that I have. So I thought you might have been interested in seeing that. It's been around. It's one of those working anathemas, so it's not all shiny and new. It's done some work. So yes, I'll just put that. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and the main takeaway from this is put on your altar what has meaning to you, not what a book has told you should be on your altar. Take your time when you're putting things on your altar. If something doesn't feel right, take it off. It doesn't have to be there. And just wait, and your tools will make themselves known to you. So merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Blessed be.